The Los Angeles Lakers have managed to screw up another offseason, and things aren't looking great if you're a Lakers fan. We believe the only good thing that comes out of the Lakers' poor and inactive summer is the fact that their players are continuously linked to shocking trade ideas. The latest one to come through is a potential trade involving Anthony Davis and DeAndre Ayton. Let's get the latest on it, starting with the details on the shocking Davis deal. Before we get to the how and why, it's important to look at what the details are on the rumored deal for Anthony Davis. According to an anonymous Western Conference executive, the Lakers aren't too happy with AD and think of him as a tradable asset. Of course, this signals a huge change in their planning. He was supposed to be the man to take the Lakers forward, but his injuries and availability issues have stopped it from happening. Now the Lakers are contemplating trading their superstar, and the team linked with a potential deal are the Phoenix Suns. In fact, the source suggested that the Suns wouldn't mind including DeAndre Ayton, someone who's recently signed a max contract with Phoenix, and Cameron Johnson in return for Anthony Davis. We can understand the plausibility of a potential deal of this sort happening, but it still remains a little bit ambitious for both sides. We got a feeling the Lakers front office will disagree with us, but it's true. Ayton can't be traded until the 15th of January, so this isn't a deal that would take place this offseason. It could happen at the earliest in mid-January, and of course, a lot could change until that point. Plus, he's got a veto power over any trade, although we doubt he'd veto a move to the Lakers no matter how bad they are currently. The same source also pointed out that while the LA franchise rates AD highly, his value has significantly dropped due to his injury record. Next up, would the Lakers be happy with Ayton? As far as the Lakers are concerned, a deal for Ayton could be a pretty big one. The former #1 draft pick is still a rising star regardless of the few issues he's experienced at the Suns, and it's probably a safer bet to build a roster around Ayton rather than wait for AD to have a better season. As we mentioned, for the Lakers, Ayton and Johnson are good value, but they're nowhere near matching what the franchise truly believes is the going rate for Davis. They could potentially become stubborn and not let the move develop, but that's only going to make matters worse for them. If it does go through, Ayton would probably change the way the Lakers play. The center is a superstar and he's still very young. He puts on decent numbers, and with the likes of LeBron James and potentially Russell Westbrook, Ayton might end up being a better fit for the Lakers than Davis. At the same time though, the Lakers would be hoping that Davis can stay fit for another season and watch his value soar rather than trading him for a lot less. Not to mention the Lakers are desperate for new additions. If Davis gets injured in the first half of the new season, their patience might run out with him and he could be traded. They want to win now, and they haven't got many options to make it happen. Plus, stranger trades have happened, even when you consider the two franchises that haven't done a trade in a decade. Moving on, what about the Suns? Would the Suns be happy with a trade of this sort? Well, regardless of the extension for Ayton, he isn't exactly the first name on the sheet for Phoenix. He hasn't caught the league by storm as the Suns would have hoped, and even though he looks fantastic in that new Suns outfit, there's a good chance they might be tempted into negotiating a deal for Davis in exchange for Ayton. Of course, they'll have some question marks over Davis's fitness, but that's natural, isn't it? The Suns, though, will have a problem with developing two fantastic young talents over the years just to throw it all away for an injury-prone individual. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for the Suns to go for a deal, but the upside of having Davis is massive. There's never been any doubt over his ability, and he produces unreal numbers when he does actually play. A change in scenery could mean that AD's horrible luck with injuries gets better. Plus, if they believe in the law of averages, there's bound to be a big season loading for AD considering his massive injuries in the last couple of years. But would it be enough to enter talks and include two young talents in the deal? All we know is that if a deal does happen, it's bound to shake up the league because this move would be nothing short of a blockbuster. Finally, the Lakers know where they stand. If it wasn't obvious enough before, the Lakers have truly swallowed the bitter pill and understand that things are going terrible for them. The Russell Westbrook move was a horrible one, and it set them back many years, while Davis's struggle with injuries in the last two seasons mean that he hasn't been able to take up the mantle for the franchise. They managed to get LeBron to sign an extension, and that's great news, but at 37, he's not getting any younger. We know he's insane, and his longevity in the sport will remain unmatched, but he needs a supporting cast. The Lakers have also endured a tough offseason with their pursuit of Kyrie Irving. At one point, it really seemed like the deal of the summer, but it didn't happen, and now the Lakers have a squad similar to the one they did last season. Yeah, the additions of Patrick Beverley and some others might improve their chances, but what they truly needed was another superstar, and they haven't managed to get that in. Lastly, this wild trade could happen, and it would change a lot, but it wouldn't help the Lakers in competing for the championship. For that, they need to hope that their new additions are better than the players they've lost and can truly make an impact in the regular season. It's harder because all the teams around them have improved massively, and the Lakers have only gotten worse if we're being honest. Bad time to be a Lakers fan. In other news, first up, Cam Reddish trade explored by the Lakers. As per Mark Berman of the New York Post, the Lakers are considering a move for fourth-year Knicks wing Cam Reddish. Originally drafted by the Hawks, the 6'8" small forward was the 10th overall pick in 2019 and was one of the mainstays for the Hawks before being traded to the Knicks. Things for Reddish didn't get better with the Knicks, and he ended up featuring in only 15 games from January onwards and was primarily used off the bench. He could still improve, and the Lakers could truly do with someone like him if they can get the Knicks to trade. Reddish remains in search of more on-court opportunities, and the Lakers could be a reasonable fit. There are some genuine questions over how he'll fit for the Lakers, considering they've got many players of the same ilk at the franchise. In fact, his poor shooting isn't exactly what the Lakers are looking for, and while he could improve, they're currently looking for players that can improve them in the short term, which is why we think the rumor might actually be true, because Pelinka makes some horrible decisions. Then, the Donovan Mitchell trade could impact the Lakers. It was rumored the Lakers were on the market and monitoring a move for Donovan Mitchell. That didn't work out, and now with his move to the Cleveland Cavaliers confirmed, the Lakers won't be able to trade Russell Westbrook to the Jazz. But that doesn't mean the Lakers wouldn't be interested in doing business with the Jazz. That's because they've got a number of veterans they're looking to trade, and the Lakers have this strange affinity with trading for veterans. There's a potential move on the table for the Lakers. If they move on Russ along with at least one future draft pick, they could get in the likes of Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, and Bojan Bogdanovic. It's not flashy, but it could be exactly what the Lakers need going into the new season. Lastly, the Celtics could move for an ex-Laker, Carmelo Anthony. Another move that could make matters worse for the Los Angeles Lakers is the Celtics' interest in Carmelo Anthony. The veteran was fantastic for the Lakers last year, and as per rumors, the Celtics franchise hopes to get him in later this offseason. However, their plans for a potential deal could get hampered by Boston's interest in Carmelo after a recent injury to their new man, Danilo Gallinari, could it tempt the Celtics into making a move earlier for Carmelo Anthony. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think the Lakers would let go of AD if he gets injured this season too? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.